Good morning, everyone. I'm Leah Dixon from Port Coquitlam, British Columbia. I am live today with my regular Wednesday morning Facebook Live. And this month, because it's summer holidays and I can, I actually have a special treat. Instead of just one card class to go this month, I'm going to be able to do one each week. So this is my second card class to go of the month. If you missed out on the Jar of Joy, sorry, the tutorial is still available. But starting now with an order of $60 or more, the card kit that I'll be sending out to you is actually the card kit for this long time no see card class to go that I'm doing right now. So how it works is I will be making 4 cards today using the long time no see stamp set. And then when you place an order with me through my online store of $60 or more, you'll get the card kit to make for each of these 4 cards as well. So later today, I'll actually have posted on my blog a full list of materials you'll need at home to create this and all of that. If you're part of my email list, you actually got that information yesterday. So you know what inks and colors and stuff I'm going to be using today. So let's get started. I'm going to switch over to my desktop and I'll show you what I'm working with today and we'll get started crafting. I see there's some people on. If you want to say hi, let me know who's watching. That'd be awesome. So this is one of our new online exclusives. And so it's a one-off stamp set. There's no dies or anything that go with it, but it's just a super fun stamp set. And so I loved that it had Christmas and birthday in it because those are the 2 cards that I make the most of. And that you could use all of the critters for either one. So you've got the llama and the little wiener dog there, the dachshund. So let's move that out of the way and we'll start by showing you the other materials that I've paired it with. So these are items that you won't get the stamp set in your kit, but you will get the paper, the ribbon, and the embellishments that you need to just make the 4. But these are items that you may want to add to your stash as well. So we've got the adhesive back textured dots, and let's see if we can bring those in so you can really see them. I call them the little brass golf balls because they've got little tiny dots on them. We've got the nicest 1/4 inch white ribbon. I don't know, it just feels so nice and ties so nicely, and it's got a beautiful texture to it as well. So it's not just kind of a plain ribbon. I really like it. So we're using those, and then the DSP that I'm using on our cards is the Country Woods 12x12, and this paper is just gorgeous. So we've got the cracked paint look. We've got like some nice, like, I don't know, I always think of the ocean when I see this one, kind of the faded shabby chic. We've got some nice deep wood, some, again, whitewashed boards, very oceany. Just some, I don't know, I always think of this as like laminate. And then some more paint chipped oceany vibe. Just some nice well-worn floors. And again, some more paint chipped kind of stuff. That country chic kind of look, the white there. And then this one has some beautiful blues and grays and yellows running through it. And then the blue on the back. So it's a really, really nice designer series pack. I've actually used this in a number of different classes right from when it first came out. And I just love it. And then we do have just a tiny sprinkling of the take a bow or take a bow, whichever way you want to pronounce it. DSP. This paper is on the last chance list though. So when it's gone, it's gone. Now you get like 8 sheets of each pattern. So mine isn't going too quickly, although I do find it's my favorite Christmas paper right now. All right, so let's get started with our first card. So for this one, we're just doing a belated birthday card. This is probably the simplest card in our kit. Just basically a label, a bow, and a full DSP background because it's my favorite of the patterns in the DSP. So I'm going to put that to the side. we're going to do our stamping first, and then we'll put our card together. So when you're stamping this card, we're going to use Early Espresso ink and Flirty Flamingo. Now, the Flirty Flamingo is optional because it's just for our happy birthday. So go ahead and switch that up. If you've got a friend who prefers purples or yellows, really any color that coordinates nicely with the pool party, then you're good to go. So it doesn't have to be the Flirty Flamingo. That's just what I chose. So we will start with our sentiments because they have to be placed so we can see them fully. Whereas our little doggy, because we're only stamping his behind, we can be a little more flexible in how much of that we show. So I'm going to ink up the Sorry I'm a Little Behind and stamp it quite far to the left, trying to get the bottom of it just above, like halfway kind of idea. So that's our first job. And then we're going to stamp the happy birthday in whatever color you choose. I'm using Flirty Flamingo. So happy birthday, and we'll stamp that right below the little behind. And there we go. So that is our sentiment part done. And now we get to stamp the little doggy. And we're going to stamp him in Early Espresso, just like we did our sentiment. So I don't need to ink him up fully, but I am going to ink up right to his front paws, just because I don't want to not ink enough. Oops. Now, I do have my glass mat that I can wipe up, but it's just faster if I put down a piece of scrap paper. All right. So I ink right to his front paws, and then I put as much of him on here as I can get to fit. And I'm looking at his belly to make sure it's horizontal, his feet and his tail to make sure that they make it fully onto the piece. And there we go. So with that done, we have our little doggy on our label, and we are ready to color him. So again, the colors I've used, you don't have to use, but I am using Dark Crumb Cake and Pool Party. So you can totally change this up, make it whatever colors you want. If you have a dash hound in your life and he has particular markings, you might want to color kind of to match your dash hound. I thought pecan pie would be a nice color as well, but I was trying to keep my colors to a minimum for the class as a whole, and I'm using the crumb cake on the llamas. So I thought I'd go ahead and just keep with that for my dash hound. So I'm using the paint tip brush and coloring in his whole backside. Once I've got him all colored in, I'm going to come back and color above his haunches there one more time, just to make that area a little bit darker. And I'm going to come in from the top and color down and color his tail a bit more. And by adding some lines just in that way, it kind of, not really, but it kind of gives a little sense of roundness to him. So you can see, and this will blend a bit more as it dries, but so he's got kind of a lighter patch in the middle and then darker at the top and bottom, and it kind of creates like a curvature kind of feel. So when we color his sweater, we're going to do the same thing. Now I'm making his sweater blue and white, so we'll just do every second one in blue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my dark Pool Party, and I'm only going to color from the edges just a little bit in. Okay, so just like that. Then I'm going to come back and color even less of it. And then I'm going to do a full stripe all the way across. That's going to help blend those 3 layers together. There we go. And so that creates, again, that little bit of roundness to him, so that he kind of feels 3-dimensional. Now, if you just want to color him quickly, 1 layer and be done, that's fine too. It's still going to be cute. All right, that is it for our stamping on this card. So now we're going to put our card together. We're going to start with a piece of that gorgeous ribbon. And we're going to tie a knot off to the left side. And once I've got this knot tied, I'll make sure that my paper is about halfway up. But I'm not too worried about where my knot falls right now because I can always move it. Right now, my big concern is just to get this tied tightly and kind of centered top to bottom. All right. So now before I tie my bow even, I'm just going to check and see if that's where I want it to be. And that's going to work for me. It's not quite centered, and that's okay. I didn't actually have this piece centered. I did have it a little off to the right-hand side. So that's perfect. So I'm going to tie my bow now. And then we can attach this to our card front. Okie dokie. So here we go. Make a nice little bow. Trim up our ends. There's my paper snaps. There we go. So I always trim the ends just because I find as I'm busy playing with the ribbon and tying a bow and everything, it kind of frays the ends. Now with this layer done, I'm going to just get some liquid glue. You can use any adhesive you want. And I'm going to glue this straight down to a thick white cardstock base. And now I have scored mine at 5.5. This is a 4 1/4 by 11 piece of paper. So it's like hot dog style. So it's long and opens to the side. I prefer cards that open to the side, no matter which way you're orienting them, just because then they don't like droop and flatten out when people have them standing on their mantle or whatever. Okay, so there we go. That's glued down, and then we'll attach our label here with dimensionals. I'm just going to put 4 on here, 1 in each corner. That way we'll avoid hitting our ribbon and creating any lumpy bumpies. And it'll just lay nicely. Okay. There we go. So we'll just pop that on. There we go. And then finally, we will add our embellishment. There we go. I put them down and then I couldn't see them. So we'll add our textured dots here. And I'm just doing one up there, a small one, and another small one down over here. So just like a little triangle. And that is our first card. Oh, hi, Keisha. Oh, you'll love this card class. It's all animals. So yeah, just a fun way to use that cute little doggy. And yeah, so that's card number 1 in my card class to go. Card number 2, we're going to switch over to our llamas. And so just a really fun little happy birthday card here. Yeah, so let's get started. I don't normally do a lot of coloring, so this is quite interesting for me. So I'm going to start just by putting this piece of basic white on the inside. If you wanted to add like a little strip of DSP or something to decorate your inside, that's always an easy no stamp way to pull the front of the card into the inside of the card. So I just take maybe a 1/2 inch strip of the DSP. I don't know if I have one. I've got lots of little scraps and stuff here. So Basically, the DSP from the front, I take a little 1/2 inch strip and just stick it in there on the inside of our card. I might add that detail later, but right now I'm going to keep going so that this video doesn't end up being a million years long. All right, next thing we're going to do is take our DSP. So this is from the Christmas pack, but I've used this side. I really love this side. I've used it a lot on dinosaur cards as well because it just feels fun and it's not overly festive. And this time when we do our bow, we're actually going to put our bow to the right-hand side. So come along, tie our knot. Now, tying a knot around a thin piece of DSP can be challenging. If you find it too flimsy for your liking, go ahead and attach your DSP to a piece of cardstock and then do it. And that's going to add a lot of structure to it. I just kind of try and use my fingers to hold my DSP down. There we go, because otherwise it likes to curl and tighten. All right. Sorry for all the dinging. I'm not sure. Not sure who's messaging me. We'll have to check that out afterwards. Right now, all my devices are in use. So, all right. There we go. So we tied our bow. Now it's not sitting the way I want it to sit, so I'm going to untie it. I find that the way you tie your knot determines how your bow will sit. So just making sure to pull your two ends in the right direction of how you want your bow to sit before you tie your bow really helps. There we go. That's much better. All right. So now that we have that bow done, I'm going to come in here and trim my ends again. So I always give myself a little bit more ribbon than I know I'm going to need so that I can trim it, but also so that I have something to work with. Now, before I attach this to my card front, I am actually going to kind of measure out. I want this arch to come all the way down and be hidden behind my ribbon. So I'm going to kind of measure that just by placing the arch there and seeing, because I don't want it going off the top of my card, right? And then once I have that positioned, I'm actually not going to move it. You could use tear and tape for this or mini glue dots. I don't mind just kind of trying to squeeze the liquid glue onto the back here. And I'm going to glue down one side. And then I'll lift up the other side and add my glue and glue down the other side. So like there's no moving things, guessing, making mistakes. It's just this is where it was. This is where it will stay. Okay. Make sure you don't move your ribbon while you're doing that though. Now, I can also see that my bow's not sitting exactly how I want it to. Normally, I would just grab a mini glue dot and fix that, but I'm going to wait until we've glued our arch in before I do that, because if I glue it down right now, I won't be able to slip my arch in. All right, now I realized I forgot one of the fun components of this card. I wasn't supposed to glue that DSP yet, darn it. Because I was taking my happy birthday and using Versamark and stamping happy birthday all over the background. So don't do as I do, do as I say. Stamp happy birthday across the background before you glue anything down. Now you can use Granny Apple Green ink, or you can use Versamark. I used Versamark on my original one. It just creates a bit of a lighter look. We're going to go ahead and do this the hard way. So I'm going to do my first happy birthday on an angle where my full happy birthday falls on here edge to edge. It's a little hard to see, but there it is across the corner, and I can see the full thing. After I've done that, then I'm going to come in and stamp happy birthday in kind of an offset, like brick lane pattern. So like that. like that. I'm going to leave the tricky parts down here for last, and then I'll show you how to fix this little mistake I made. It's all good. Okay, so we're just doing a little brick pattern here. Back and forth, back and forth. Okay, so now I'm just going to see how much of this I have to fix. So that none of that matters. So it's just that one little happy birthday right here. So I'm just going to get a piece of scrap paper. And then we're going to come in and do happy birthday. Now you will have to press pretty hard here because you want to get down right to the edge and have it look like we didn't have any mistakes there. Now, I also, on my original, had the happy birthday kind of showing down here below the DSP. Because I messed this one up, I'm not going to go to the trouble of trying to fit it in down there. We'll just leave the patterned happy birthday at the top and be happy with it. All right, now while I have my Versamark and happy birthday out, I have a little piece of Coastal Cabana. Summer Splash works as well. And I'm just going to use my embossing buddy on here to clean that up. I'm going to stamp happy birthday all the way over to the right. So normally I would try and center this. This time around, we're doing it all the way over to the right. And then we are going to dip this into some white embossing powder. I like doing it all the way to the right because then it gives me a little handle. It also is for the card design that we want it to the right, not just because it makes it easier to hold. That's just an extra perk. All right. And now you can use your tweezers that come in your Embossing Editions toolkit if you want, or you can burn your fingers like I often do. And we're going to heat this up. Now, when you're heating this up, watch it because you don't want to overheat it. It will like almost melt into the paper and not look great. There we go. So it takes no time at all. And as soon as you see it melting, just keep moving so that you don't have any little oopsies. Okay, so now we're going to take this piece and we're just going to cut the end off so that we have kind of like a nice equal border on the side of the Y and the side of the B. I don't actually have my trimmer right here, so give me a second. I'm just going to go chop that. So when I looked at that, I lined up the points with about the 2.5 inch mark. And that's going to give us a nice piece to put on our card front. And then you've got this cute little piece. I used to toss these. I keep them now. You can put them into the edges of things, and they're just like the cutest little additional color flag kind of fun piece. So we're going to keep that. All right, our happy birthday is done. We can't attach it yet. We have to do our stamping now with our little llamas. So now these guys are birthday llamas. So we don't need, I mean, I guess if it was a winter birthday, you could use the scarf, but it's not winter. So we're not going to use the scarf. So we're going to take our little llama. I'm going to stamp one of his heads way up high, as high as it'll go. And our other little one, we're going to put down just a little bit. Okay, now I have learned that I should clean these guys right away. Although I think my next llama's in black as well. I'll let it sit for a while. I do find the Memento ink kind of stains. You can see here I've stained mine permanently because I let them sit overnight with Memento ink on them. Not a good choice. It doesn't affect how it stamps, so I'm not like heartbroken. But if you're one of those people who likes their stamps to look nice, this is definitely not a nice look anymore. All right, so now I'm going to come in and stamp his neck. And we'll do the other guy with his neck. So you're basically just taking this little ladder piece, lining it up to the bottom of his collar. And if you don't perfectly connect it, don't worry. You can either leave it like that. That's kind of like at the top, it's not all perfectly closed and connected either. So you can leave it, or you can grab your Stampin' Right marker, take the skinnier tip, and come in and just connect it with your Stampin' Right marker. All right, so that's your other option. Honestly, you could probably use a black ballpoint pen and nobody's going to notice the difference. So there are our little guys. Now to color these guys, I used light Flirty Flamingo for the ears. And the nose. There we go. Then I used crumb cake, and this time I'm using the dark and the light. I'm going to start with the dark, go around their ears, there we go. So I don't normally do all this coloring on screen. Hopefully it doesn't take me too long. This was just such a cute set though. I do normally gravitate towards sets that don't require coloring. This one was so adorable that I'm like, nah, I can color. And coloring with Stampin' Blends makes it so easy. So I've just gone over all the little highlight parts. Now I'm going to go over his muzzle, and I'm actually coloring his whole muzzle, including his little pink nose that I colored. And we're going to go back over that a second time with the pink in just a moment. We'll do this little guy and all of his little bits. So I don't take too much care, like I don't go super slowly with this color because it's just meant to be like highlighting color. We're going to go over the whole thing with light crumb cake next, and it's just all going to kind of blend it. And I'm even going over the pink in his ears with my light crumb cake. Now this is a really fast, like, we're not looking for perfection here. There we go. Just no white spots. And stay in the lines. So I guess we're looking for a little bit of perfection. But it's really quite a quick little thing. There we go. And now we're going to grab that pink again. You could just outright wait and do this afterwards, but you're going to take the pink and color in his nose again. And it just creates the softest, most subtle little pink nose there when you do the pink over top of the crumb cake. So I really like how that looks. All right, so there are our bodies colored. Now, our next part, and here, again, you can have some fun with this. Pick colors that appeal to you that are going to go with the Granny Apple and Coastal Cabana. So here you can play around with it and do whatever you'd like. But I had some fun mixing Flirty Flamingo stripes with Summer Splash, Strawberry Slush stripes. I'm a little bit obsessed with Strawberry Slush right now. And then I also did Granny Apple Green and Pool Party stripes for the other one. So that is what I'm going to stick with today. So just like I did on our little dash hound, I'm going to come in and just color the edges to begin with. And in this case of every second one with my Granny Apple Green. And then I'm going to go a little bit further not all the way across. I did switch this time to light granny apple green, and then I'm going to go all the way across. Now the dark and light granny apple don't blend quite as well as other colors do, so I do find that I like to come back in with the fine tip and do a little bit more blending. And so yeah, this one requires a little bit more work. I think it's because I switched from dark to light, whereas with all the other colors, I kind of stick with one. So if I start with dark, then I stick with dark. So I'm going to do that little edging. Oops. Try to stay in the lines. And then once you've done the edging, I go all the way across. And it does blend over time as well. So there's one. And then my other one is my dark and light flirty flamingo. Here we go. So flirty flamingo. And then flirty flamingo. There we go. And finally, my strawberry slush. So you don't have to do this two-tone coloring. Just coloring it straight across will also create a really cute little look. I just like the extra little bit that we can do with the blends and how they blend so nicely together. All right, so that is our coloring. And again, it gives that little look of like a shine almost down the center that gives it like that curved look to it. All right, now this piece we're just going to glue straight down, just remembering that we're tucking it a little bit behind the ribbon. So I'm just doing a light layer of glue on here. And then I'm going to come in here and tuck it right behind. Ooh. And I got to move it down just a little bit more. Okay. There we go. All right. And that's straight there. So that's attached. And then we're going to put our happy birthday on with dimensionals. So I'm actually going to use the trim from mine to do this. So I'm going to come in here and cut a piece of trim. So it's just kind of like a half dimensional, and we're going to go across the top and the bottom. That way I can avoid my ribbon and I can have full coverage across this. And I'm using up all of my dimensionals. So when we come in and do this, you're going to line it up so it's along the edge. And I'm also trying to make it so that the ribbon's kind of coming out of the center of the V. All right, so that's attached like that. And then we finish it off with some of our textured dots. So again, I just kind of did that triangle look. So one there, and one down here. There we go. And that is card number 2. So just kind of a cute, fun little happy birthday card. All right. Now our next one, we're going to come back to our little doggy. Oops, I think I just lost pieces. Hopefully I didn't. So we're going to create a little long time no see. And he's just such a fun little guy, and we make him really long on this card. So I'm going to show you how to do that. All right, so we start with just a regular card base with that kind of long opening, and then you do one more score at halfway so that it folds out like that. So then we get that action. I think it's called a Z fold. We're going to use this piece very, very last. We're going to build everything first of all on some white cardstock that we're going to glue into our card. Now, the reason I'm using a white cardstock base for all of these is because I love to color with my blends. So if I colored on here with my blends, it would all show through on the back side of my card, and that's not a look that I like. So that's why we're using the white panels inside, and that's going to help us kind of keep everything looking nice. All right, so we've got basically one panel for each section of our card, and the first thing we're going to do is glue our DSP to this. Now, normally I would not glue my DSP before I had stamped, but for this one, if you're not going to glue it, then you need to at least use like some low tack removable tape or something so that you can place your DSP so you know where to place your dog, or like measure it out and draw some pencil lines or something. You need some kind of measurement though. All right, so I'm putting a 1/2 inch strip of our blue wood down at the bottom of each of these panels. And then I'm going to do a DSP strip across the top of each of these panels. So we're creating like a little tunnel for our dog to sit in. All right. So I'm using liquid glue. You could use tear and tape, seal, whatever adhesive you like. And then we'll get these pieces glued across the top. Now I'm not leaving any borders on these. These are literally being glued like right to the top corners. Oops, sticky fingers. All right. There we go. All right, a little bit more. And then finally this one. So if you want all the measurements for these, I do sell my PDF tutorial, or you get the PDF for free along with your card kit when you place a $60 order with me before shipping and taxes. So it's a great time as well. Right now, two-tone cardstock is on sale, 20% off. That just started today, actually. It was kind of a surprise sale that Stampin' Up! threw at us, so that was kind of fun. And yeah, so now that we have our DSP in place, now we can see exactly where to put our puppy dog. So I'm going to get my dog. I'm going to have to clean him because I'm not sure how much of him I inked up. And for this next piece, I'm going to be very specific about how much of him I ink. So let's give him a little clean. And I'm just going to do a little test stamp to make sure he's truly clean and dry. There we go. Okay. So when I ink up the front of my dog and I'm wanting to extend his body, I'm going to take my ink to my stamp instead of my stamp to my ink. I'm going to choose the edge that's closest, like you can see it has very little border, so I can really see where the ink pad is. And on our puppy dog, kind of got curved, straight line. I am going to ink up right to that straight line and including that straight line, but I'm not going to go past this last curve for the end of his sweater. So I'm just trying to get in to ink up that straight line and beyond, and nothing more. So that is what I'm inking up. And then I'm going to make sure his belly is horizontal with our card base. His nose is on, his tail is on. So when I have them all lined up exactly how I'd want him if I was stamping the whole dog, that's where I've put him, and that's what I do. All right, so that's how we begin to line this little guy up. He's a little bit more complicated than the llama, who you're literally just stamping his whole head and then adding the ladder to him. This guy, you've got to cut off your inking at a particular spot. And then I'm going to give him a good clean, because for the other end of the card, we are going to be using just his tail. So there we go. Now when I go in and stamp his backside, I am going to do the same thing. I'm looking for that one line that's straight, and I'm going to ink up his back end right to that one straight line. And I'm actually going to come in here and layer this on top so that I can really see what level we were at for lining him up. There we go. Now those two pieces are ready to be connected. So now I'm going to take my ladder that I will have to clean because it's all covered in black ink. There's my cleaner. So I don't know why I like to stamp the llamas in black and the doggy in brown. It might be because my two llama cards use the Christmas paper as well, whereas the doggy ones only use the wood. Oh, hello, Shell. Thanks for joining. Oh, from Winnipeg. Awesome. So now that we've got our front and our back stamped, we're going to use our early espresso again, and we're going to do that connecting piece. So I'm actually going to grab my scrap piece of paper again, just because, and I like to stamp vertically. I don't know why. So I'm going to take this and come in here. And again, we're trying as best as we can to line those up, keep that horizontal with our base. And then I'm going to stamp my body. Okay, so there we have our body on there. Now we need our middle piece. And to do our middle piece, I am actually going to keep this piece available so that I can really line it up. Now I'm not fully going to put them side by side because I do want, I don't want to stamp actually on top of it. All right, so I've got that. And so I'm just kind of lining it up off the page. There we go. So now those are lined up. Now I can remove the front and bring in just the back pieces. All right, now that's going to have to be way over. And now we're going to come in and there we go. Now I did get some on my desktop. So I'm using just a half scrap. So I'm just going to clean my desk there so I don't get early espresso ink on anything. There we go. You haven't even had the chance to ink yours yet. Oh no, it is such a fun one. So you can see here, I kind of goofed with lining that up on his body. It didn't come out as perfectly as I wanted it to, but we're going to be able to mask that. We could actually grab a pen and kind of fix that a little bit. And then when we color as well, we'll be able to mask that, no problem. So now we have all of our little doggy pieces. So I'll just show you, maybe I can. Where are my neutrals? There are my neutrals. So we're going to grab our early espresso pen because it was early espresso ink that we were using. And I'm just going to come in and blend that a bit. So I'm just kind of helping the line taper in each direction. So it's not a super big deal. All right. So now that we have our puppy dog all stamped, we can color them and then we're going to pop them into our card and we're pretty much that's the card. So I'm going to use my dark crumb cake to color his ear. And again, You don't have to use crumb cake. I'm just choosing crumb cake for simplicity to kind of keep the colors down. I think he'd be super duper cute in pecan pie as well. So you could totally choose to do that if you wanted. All right, now I'm also just doing a few little highlights with my dark crumb cake before I come in here and I color all of him in light crumb cake. There we go. So his paws, his face, and his little behind. So cute. Okay, so he colors up really easily. And then I'm just going in and adding a little bit of extra layers of the crumb cake, just again to give him just a little bit of depth. Just a little bit, and it all blends nicely. All right, so now that he's colored, this card is really, really flexible. So I stuck to the colors I'd previously been using again to keep color choices down. Just trying to use what we've got and keep it minimal. But you could literally color him any colors you want, because all we're trying to do is coordinate with this lovely denim blue. And those of us who are jean lovers, which I am, know that denim goes with everything. So pick your favorite colors, pick the colors that the person you're giving it to loves, do it how you want to do it. I'm going to keep this simple for today and just repeat what I previously did. So I'm using Strawberry Slush, and that's our first color here. And to keep that kind of round look that we talked about, I'm coming in and coloring just a little edging here. And then that'll be blue and then green and then red. And then red, and then blue, green, red. And so I'm just coloring every third one with my little Strawberry Slush kind of trim. Remember, we're going to come back afterwards with full Strawberry Slush and blend this. Okay, so every second one. Now this is where it gets a little, it's tricky. You got to stop and think like, okay, so that could be one really wide blue, green, and then this one will be my red. So I find that by doing those two halves, the same color, it helps with the continuity and flow across the card. So just like that, and then that one's just one, and there we go. So yeah, even though there's a split between them, I don't treat them as a split, I treat them as one. All right, so we've got all of our red done, and then we just come back through and I color over even the dark stuff, right? So I'm just doing like straight lines right across, and that helps it blend. And then you can do a little extra just to help with the blend if you need. They do blend better if you also, like I'm doing all the dark and then all the light. If you actually do dark, light, and go one stripe at a time, they blend better. Because the alcohol hasn't had time to dry. All right. So as I'm doing this, I'll just let you guys know, it is July. I just finished up with my Jar of Joy class. This is my Long Time No See card class. This is card number 3 of 4. And the way you get the card kit for this is to place a $60 order before shipping and taxes with me. And then if you live outside of Canada and I can't send you the kit because you can't place an order with me, I do sell my PDF tutorials on PayPal. You can actually find the link to them on my blog, stampinwithleah.ca. This one won't be up probably till tomorrow. And then when you do that, unfortunately, I don't have like the fancy system yet where it just like automatically sends it to you. But when you place your order, then I will email it to you as quickly as I can. I'm looking into one of those fancier systems, but I haven't got it set up yet. So usually I get it out like same day. Sometimes there's a little bit of a longer delay if, especially in the summertime when things are busy or maybe we're out of cell service. That makes it really hard to, when I don't have internet or even phone service. So sometimes there's a bit of a longer delay, but not usually. So that one was a doubled up to all the way. And so here, because I'm not switching colors, I'm just doing all dark pool party. I'm just doing the dark and then the light, and then it blends quite well. There we go. That one, oh, we're so close to being done. All right, and then if you, I did mention it just a little while ago, we have a sale today, I think it's 9, 10, 11, on our two-tone cardstock. So if you've not used our two-tone cardstock, it's really cool. It's basically all of our colors. It comes in 12 by 12, and one side is kind of like a dark, kind of like with the blends. You've got like one side's your dark, one side's your light. And then what makes it extra cool is that unlike our regular cardstock that is dyed all the way through, two-tone cardstock is a white core. So you can distress it and it looks really awesome because you have that white core shining through. So yeah, it's really fun stuff to work with. And it's funny, I haven't used a ton of it in my card making yet. I've used it mostly for my scrapbooking. But I should probably try to pull it in more often with my card making. Okay, just 2 left here. There we go. So there is our little doggy all colored in. And now we get to finish our card. So I'm going to grab some liquid glue. You can grab whatever adhesive you like. And I'm going to pop that on like that. So our large panel here goes in like that. It is a little festive, isn't it? Yeah. And then our middle panel goes in here. And yeah, this color combo, I was actually inspired by a picnic blanket that I've got. But that was with flowers. When you don't have the flowers with it, it looks quite festive. All right. So now we've got our 3 panels of our card. And then we are just going to stamp our sentiment and add it in here. So I stamped long time and no see in 2 different colors. I used Misty Moonlight, but really any blue will do. I just used Misty Moonlight because I feel like it's the closest to the blue in the DSP. So long time in Misty Moonlight, and then no see in Granny Apple Green. It's always nice to make sure you've actually inked your whole sentiment. There we go. And clean up my hand since I just stuck my finger in Granny Apple Green ink. All right. So with that stamped, we are now going to pop this onto our card. Now I'm only using 2 dimensionals on here, one about halfway and one at the end. And when we go to put these down, we want to make sure that that one stays fully on the front of our card. So like that. Okay. So long time no see. Kind of lining it up so that it's partially on blue, partially on white. And just like that. And there's our card. So now we'll finish it off with our textured dots. So, oops, come back here. And one down there. So just like that, we've got our textured dots on there and our card is done. Yeah, so really fun, just silly kind of card. I unfortunately have a few friends I could send this one to because it's been a little while. Summertime is catch-up time though, so looking forward to seeing everyone soon. All right, now our last card is truly a festive card. It is a Christmas card because we do have the Merry Christmas sentiment in this stamp set. So this one is also one of my favorite folds, just like that. So we have lots of space to write. Oh yeah, our last card, we don't have a ton of space to write. My recommendation would be in that little space right there and a little bit right there. All right, so it's not a ton of place to write, but that's kind of okay with me. I don't love writing in cards. I just like making them. All right, so this card, you can go ahead and glue this base down right away if you want. If you're a little less brave, then just place it where you think you want it. So obviously centered. Center it. Close up the card, and we're going to get our Memento black ink again and our little llama head. And first things first, I'm going to stamp our little llama head up pretty much as high as we can. Then we're actually going to use the scarf piece this time. So we're going to come in and stamp our scarf just below his neck. And finally, now we don't actually need this on here anymore. We've got this secured enough, I think. We're going to come in here and stamp the ladder below. And so you just kind of want to make sure you are keeping it straight and stamp our ladder in. And again, I didn't fully connect it. It's okay. I can just grab my Stampin' Right marker and fill in that little gap. Or like I said, even a ballpoint pen with the black is going to be just fine. There we go. All right. So now that he's stamped, we can color him and add him in and put our pieces together. I'm actually going to save the coloring him for a little bit later though, because I wanted to show you my trick for my sentiment. So this label, this is the largest Stylish Shapes label. You could totally leave this label as is, but I feel like the banner just looks a little bit long. So what I actually have done is I've taken my Merry Christmas and hidden it. There it is. I've grabbed some shaded spruce ink. And I went and stamped my Merry Christmas to the right or left, you can choose, but basically off to one side. Okay, so it's not centered. And then I'm going to grab my mini machine and I'm going to trim this label down. So this is something fun that I like to do with these labels because my Stylish Shapes dies, honestly, these are my favorites. I love these banners, but sometimes the banners are too long. So I'm going to come in. I've put that down on top. I kind of felt it like click into place almost. Okay, so when you line it up, you'll feel it like click in. And so I just keep moving it till it clicks to the right size that I want. So I felt it click in. Then I'm going to go ahead and put that over top. And we're going to run this through. You don't even have to run it all the way through if you don't want to, because you're really only cutting the one end. So now we have this fun little shape if you want to keep that. It's really cute. But what we've got is we now have our Stylish Shapes banner, but it's shorter and fits our sentiment better. So just a fun little thing that you can do with all the sizes of your banners. So if you're trying to find the right shape for a sentiment, you're like, oh, this is perfect, except, you know, it's too long. There you go. Quick fix. So that was my kind of trick and tip for this card. I love that. So we've got our card base here. I've got a strip of that Country Woods DSP. We're going to glue this down on here. Oh, thanks, Shell. Yeah, I love finding different ways to use my dies. And that is just one of them. So now when you get the kit, I actually will have already done that extra cutting for you. So you'll just have to stamp your sentiment perfectly in the center, or as perfectly as you can. I know that's not my forte. So there we got our DSP. I'm going to take my little circle here and glue it onto, this is a 2 3/8 inch circle punch that I've got here. Glue that onto there. And then I'm going to use dimensionals to put my Merry Christmas onto my circle. Now, when I do this, I like to turn it so that it's like X's. I don't want the plus sign, I want the X's. And I'm just putting 2 dimensionals right in the middle of my banner. And then that banner fits perfectly across there. Woo. Now I'm not going to attach this yet. I'm going to put my llama back in place, because where my llama is depends on where my Merry Christmas is going to go. And then you can choose to either use dimensionals or liquid glue to attach this. I personally like using dimensionals, even though it gives it a little bit of extra. So I'm actually just going to pop this in here so that I can see where to put my 2 dimensionals. Just like that. And then my third one's over there. There we go. All right, so just making sure the Merry Christmas is horizontal when you put that in. And now we can color our llama before we glue him in. I always color him before I glue him in, just in case I mess it up, because it could happen. All right, now we're coloring him a little bit differently. We're going to still use our Floaty Flamingo, but this time we're just going to use light crumb cake to actually just highlight bits around him. We're not even going to color him. He's actually going to be white with crumb cake accents. So just all those little lines. And I'm using the paintbrush tip so that it's wide and messy and yeah, just kind of flowy, like watercolors. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect. And then we'll color his whole muzzle in light, and then we'll come back in with our light Flirty Flamingo and color his nose. There we go. So really fast to color him. Oh, hi, Claudia. Thank you for joining. Oh, thank you for watching, Shell. Yep, no worries. See you later. All right. So this is our little llama. Now, whatever color I choose for my first rung on his scarf, I'm also going to choose for his long side on his scarf. And I think I'm going to do my granny apple green. So I'm going to start with a dark strip, so dark granny apple green, and then I'm going to come in and do light granny apple green on top. All right, and then I'll just do a little bit of blending there. I do find that the fine tip does the blend a little bit better. There we go. There. So that's our first rung on our scarf. Now for this scarf, I'm actually going to do light green shaded spruce, white, and real red, just because our card base is real red. So those are our colors. So when I count these out, I'm putting 3 spaces between, like, before my next green. All right. And then 1, 2, 3. So now this one will be our next green. Oops, I should be using my dark for this. There we go. And with my dark, just because it doesn't blend as well, I'm going to do them back and forth, light and dark, right away, just to help with the blending process. And then 1, 2, 3, and do some more. So, sorry, this is a little bit of a longer video than I normally do, just because this coloring takes so much time. But it's fun, it's relaxing. There we go. So that's our granny apple green. Then we're going to do our shaded spruce, and I think I'm actually going to do this fully in light shaded spruce. We're not going to bring the dark in, but I will still go over the one side just to kind of add that depth to it. So do a light layer and then a little tiny layer just to give some depth. And so now that I've got all my granny apple ones in, this is pretty easy because I just know go to the one after granny apple. All right. And then we've got our white layer and then our red. And again, I think I'm going to skip using the dark red and just use the light, but do it like extra layers. White and then red. And so this one's extra festive. White and then red. There we go. And so now that he's all colored, I'm going to glue this in. You think you need this set. You know what? The second I saw it, I knew I needed it, even though I'm not a colorer. I don't know, the little dash hound and this little llama with his scarf, they were just so adorable. I just couldn't resist. All right. So we glue him in. Now, I thought I had, maybe I didn't. There should be a white panel as well. Apparently I didn't cut one for my sample card. So we'll put a white panel in there so that you have somewhere to write. Or if you don't do the white panel, you can always just write in this space, just making sure you don't go too far over. And then we finish up by adding our textured dots. Just like that. And that is card number 4 from my Long Time No See card class to go. So I do have, well, not yet, but tomorrow, maybe even late today, on my blog, stampinwithleah.ca. If you go to my card classes to go section, I will have the PDF there for anybody who lives outside of Canada who isn't able to place an order with me. But if you are in Canada, you can place a $60 order with me. You will get the card kit, like all the pieces you need to create these 4 cards. As well as like you'll get your ribbon bits and a little strip of the dots and everything. So you'll get all of that as well as the printable PDF so that you can follow along and recreate these. Oh, thank you so much, Keisha. So that is my Long Time No See card class to go. And keep watching my Facebook page because I already have them created. I will have some more Long Time No See samples going up on there throughout the week. My Festive Friday uses this stamp set as well. So thanks so much for joining me. I will be back again live next week. And I've actually already started getting those ones prepped as well. I'm going to be using the Not 29 Anymore set for next week's card class to go. And pairing that up with the birthday treats ephemera. So super fun, super sweet little cards created. A little bit sassy. I like it. Okay, so have a wonderful week. Message me if you have any questions. And yeah, we'll see you later. Bye-bye, everyone.